We'll take a look now at what happens when the light is behind the object. So again, we'll start with our eye level, a third of the way up on the page. And our vanishing point in the middle, one to the left, one to the right. We're going to determine that we're not going to go out too far so that or too large, so that our vanishing points left and right will appear large and far away. We want them to be far apart as we can get them to appear to be. I'm going to make them a little bit smaller as well, so that I have room for the shadows that I'm anticipating coming forward, closer to me. Don't forget to put in the hidden parts as well. So both the front part of my 1-point box and the back part of my 1-point box are facing me squarely, so I don't need perspective for them. And I'm confident that my vanishing point gave me the right size for that same box, just a little bit further away. Now again, I'm going to try to get my 2-point box in accord with my 1-point box. And it doesn't really matter whether you bring your lines from the vanishing point to the corner or whether you do it the other way, from the corner to the vanishing point. Whatever your handedness tells you to do, that's what you should do. Even if it means turning the paper upside down, then that's what you should do. And I'm going to just take a guess at how wide to make it. And this is more of a rectangle than the other box, maybe. And I'm closer to the eye level, so the top of the box is more shallow. Okay, now I'm going to put my light source back here. This time I'll put it almost directly in line with our... That's the other thing. It doesn't really have, the placement of the light doesn't really have anything to do with the vanishing points for the space or the boxes. That's completely independent. Okay, this should be my blue dot, and that's my light source there. So I always like to go to the farthest edge, the farthest corner, because it's easier to see. It's easier to see that angle than this one, which is almost directly in line with it. That's more difficult to see. So now, same process, I go through here. Now, given everything I learned from the last two exercises, I could now complete that. And because I know this is a shadow for that, so I would draw it straight. And I'd be able to just rely on this angle to give me the next place to go. But we might as well follow through and prove once again what we already know, that the shape of the shadow, the length of it, needs to be determined, but the shape of it, we can rely on the shape of the actual box to give us the shape of the shadow. So now this, if I project this is inside the box, so that means I don't see that shadow at all. But if I do this one, it goes outside the box. So I do need to do this hidden corner. Another argument for making sure you draw those inside lines. Okay, and that's going to end up there. Now I'm going to just check to see if what I suspect is true is already true. And it is. This lines up with this vanishing point. So that gives me the shape of this when I join these 2 points up. So there's our shadow for our and this would be our shadow side of the box, always connected to the cast shadow. And this box, same idea. I'm going to project from this corner. This is the easiest one to see, so I might project that one first. Now, often people project all the bottom ones first, then all the top ones, and it's very confusing. So I would recommend that you do it just this way, one at a time. There's where that one crosses, and I'll do this one now. Oops. You have to be careful not to do what you think is the right one. You've got to be careful. Now, I should be able to use this vanishing point to join these, and I pretty much can. If I were just joining them by eye, I'd have gotten the same angles. What I'm trying to convey, I hope that's coming across, that this will save you much time, and it will allow you to make your shapes bigger on the page, because you don't have to do all this mapping. You just know, if you do enough of this, if you do this over and over and over again, you'll know what angles to give your shadows. So here we go. This I could have almost used to do this, but this is probably more correct, actually. So that's how I drew that line. Now this whole area is the shadow for this side of the box. And this is the shadow for this side of the box, this area here. What about the front? We better do that hidden one. I didn't put that in, so we better put that in. So it's there. And if I use this point to go through there, it's there. So now I just have to join this up with that, and I could easily use this vanishing point to do that. So that's the other side over here, just a smidge. And it would give you an accurate depiction of what happens when the light source hits the floor. Remember, this is where the light source hits the floor, but that's the actual light source. That's what happens. And this, of course, is all lit up. That's why this isn't in shadow. This one isn't facing the light, not even obliquely, so that's why it's considered a shadow. But when you rendered it, you would render it a middle value, so that you'd have enough contrast to bring this to life.